The more rules an airplane breaks, the more it becomes the iconic comedy.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Non-comedian actors, a plot that really matters, and jokes that the audience has to understand, turn one dramatic movie into one of Hollywood's greatest comedies.
It's an entirely different kind of flying.
Roger, roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Excuse me, we'd like you to have this flower from the Church of Religious Conscience.
It was 1980 when David Zucker, Jim Abrahams, and Jerry Zucker wrote and directed Airplane. When they went to studios to sell it, almost no one took it. They believed it was a confusing movie that was breaking too many rules of the comedy genre. At last, Paramount Pictures saw the potential and bought it. But they still hedged their bets by slashing the initial budget request from $7.5 million down to a tight $3.5 million to mitigate the financial risk. The movie went on to gross over $171 million worldwide, and 40 years later, its scenes and quotes still make people laugh.
I will, but Jim won't.
I think I will have another cup of coffee.
Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home.
So, what did the ZAZ trio do with this movie? They didn't create it like other traditional comedies. In fact, they didn't hire any comedians for this project. No one had ever seen this approach before. Studios were confused when they saw serious, dramatic actors like Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack, and Lloyd Bridges in the movie. But the ZAZ trio hired these actors deliberately. To understand their decision, we have to discuss another movie, 0 Hour. It was a 1957 disaster film that revolved around a traumatized former World War II fighter pilot.
Would you like to have it?
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You ever been in the cockpit before?
No, sir. I've never been up in a plane before.
Airplane was a line-to-line, scene-to-scene parody of this disaster movie. It took numerous scenes and dialogues from 0 Hour and turned them into a comedic masterpiece.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Unlike other parody movies of that time, Airplane had a motive and a plot. Ted had to win back his ex-girlfriend, and the aeroplane had to land. So, the plot had story beats that kept the audience hooked till the end. This is very different from modern comedy movies that don't have any major story structure. Their main aim is to make people laugh. For this, they have to add scenes that can impact the pacing of the story. They sometimes also have to change the plot to add absurd scenes or standalone sketches to it. Moreover, they have to pause after a joke to let the audience absorb it.
Control yourself. God damn, will you put on some pants?
But Airplane did nothing like this. It kept the plot intact and sprinkled jokes while the characters were actively dealing with crises. Unlike other movies, the creators first created the story and then added absurd jokes in the scenes. The ZAZ trio bought the copyrights to the original 0 Hour movie for $2,500. They recruited the cast who were experts in delivering dialogues with deadpan expressions. The cast knew how to act in dramatic scenes, so creators layered jokes on top of tense scenes to make the movie unique.
You can't take a guess for another 2 hours? No, I mean, we can't land for another 2 hours. Fog has closed down everything this side of the mountains. We've got to get through to Chicago.
These actors never paused after a joke. The audience had to remain alert to understand the joke and find the next one. This kept them on their toes throughout the movie and gave them the pleasure of finding and understanding a joke. This involved them with the plot, and they genuinely cared about what was going to happen next. Jim Abrahams and brothers David and Jerry Zucker famously screened the film for college students and cut any joke that didn't get a huge laugh. The result is a relentless pace, cramming nearly 3 distinct jokes per minute into the script, with foreground gags, background puns, and sight gags happening simultaneously. They incorporated humor in numerous layers that the audience never recovered from. For example, in the entire film, you can hear propellers outside of the plane. Most people had to watch the movie numerous times to figure out this propeller joke. In fact, many claimed that whenever they watch the movie, they find something new in it. It is because the characters remain realistic in the movie. Their actions aligned with their situation, keeping them relatable to the audience. Actors pretended that they were in a thriller movie. They never act as if they were working in a comedy movie.
Air pockets we encountered. There's no reason to become alarmed, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your flight.
By the way, is there anyone on board who knows how to fly a plane?
Writer David Zucker had to focus a lot on the script. He knew the success of the movie depended on the script, so he added lines in the dramatic situations that sound humorous or absurd when delivered with deadpan expressions.
We got fog right down to the deck, every place east of the Rockies. There's no possible place they can land. They'll have to come through to Chicago.
This type of comedy was new for the actors. Leslie struggled on his first day on the set, unable to understand what was expected of him. So the creators gave him the recording of 0 Hour. He went home, watched it, and got the idea of what he was expected to do. Now, the character choice and script choice weren't the only things that turned Airplane into comedy gold. The third decision that made it a masterpiece was to parody a genre rather than a movie. People who haven't watched 0 Hour could still understand and enjoy Airplane. It is because the movie wasn't just a reference to scenes from the past movie. It wasn't just a parody of a specific movie. Rather, it is a parody of a genre, specifically disaster movies. Most modern parody films fail over time because they rely entirely on hyper-specific pop culture references. If a movie mocks a specific celebrity scandal or an exact scene from a trending movie from that year, the jokes completely lose their meaning a decade later. Airplane avoids this trap completely. They kept their focus on disaster movies' tropes, character arcs, and cliches. They mocked the universal aspects of a movie that every viewer could understand. For example, their focus wasn't to mock a specific celebrity, but a wounded war hero who had lost his nerve.
I had to ask the guy next to me to pinch me to make sure I wasn't dreaming.
Or they mocked a hyper-professional doctor who remained focused under pressure.
Starts with a slight fever, dryness of the throat. As the virus penetrates the red blood cells, the victim becomes dizzy, begins to experience an itching, a rash. From there, the poison goes to work on the central nervous system, causing severe muscle spasms.
Every viewer had seen such characters in movies, so they didn't find it difficult to understand the parody. This aspect makes Airplane a timeless comedy. What are your thoughts about this? Do share with us in the comments section and subscribe to our channel for more.